Hey Little Pros, this is Randa from Little Pro Education Group. I'm a little bit unnerved, and so my intro can't be as upbeat as it usually is because of the topic that we're going to discuss today. This is the beautiful little Rinaiya Wright. Rinaiya Wright is a student in South Carolina who apparently got into an altercation, physical altercation, in the classroom, and she ended up dying from her injuries. And I'm getting chills just talking about it. As a teacher in the classroom, and I've been teaching for over 20 years, anytime there's a physical altercation, I zoomed right in and I broke it up. And typically once I get involved, because of the level of respect that I garnished with the students, they usually would automatically break up. There's been a few occasions where they were just so heated that that instant, visualization of me did not break up the fight, but that was usually a very extreme situation. And I always thought it was my duty to break up a fight, because you really want to teach kids how to resolve issues, and physical altercation has to be like the last. But a lot of times in the inner city, it's a survival technique. And it's an overused survival technique because of the neighborhoods in which we come from. And so I just always felt it my duty to break up fights. Never want to see a child harmed from these fights. And then somewhere midway in my career, the schools changed the procedure of teachers getting involved in a fight to teachers only firmly stating, stop, 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 after they've called security. Now, if security is on the other side of the building or is involved in the situation, then you're letting these kids just tussle, and you have more of an opportunity for injury to happen. And so during our professional development meeting, when they gave us this new policy, teachers were very concerned, like myself. And the teacher said, someone can get hurt. And the principal said, no, let the kids fight, because typically they tend to tire out and they will break themselves up. Never made sense to me. But I'm the type of person, even if I don't believe in something, if this is your organization, these are your rules, I'm going to follow it. Right? But it always disturbed me to no end. And I already knew that the situation with Rinaiya probably fell into the margins of this new policy. There's just something inside me, I just knew. And so, as a couple of days went on and they had more news coverage over it, because in the first article on www.pix11.com, which is a news station in New York, the article stated that administration broke up the fight, and she was unresponsive at that point. And I said, wait a minute. Administration broke up the fight? Was the administration in the classroom and the fight broke out? Probably not, because kids act differently when administration is around, because administration is not around on a normal basis inside the classroom. So I was like, oh no. And then a couple of days later, another article reported that the school's policy is that the teacher is not to break up the fights in order. I think it was on CNN. I actually was watching on the news, and they were reporting that the school said that it's school policy for teachers not to break up the fight, so that the teachers do not inadvertently harm the child, or that the teacher does not get hurt. And that's why administration came in. So literally, you're doing the exact opposite. And that was to avoid lawsuits. So now a child has to die and you still get a lawsuit? It's what this no. The decisions that they make in school many times are the antithesis of the health and well-being of students and families. Because not only did this little girl lose her life, but the kids around her and the adults around her had to witness this tragedy, had to experience, have to live through it, have to go back into that classroom, back into that school, knowing what happened because of neglect. And I firmly believe that a policy can lead to neglect. So you want to avoid a minor lawsuit because a family claimed that the teacher strong-armed a student, breaking up a fight, and they have a bruise. Okay, what are they going to get? A couple of thousand? Opposed to a student losing their life because the injuries from an altercation happened because that altercation was prolonged because the adult in the area did not break up the fight. As a teacher, I have seen students break up a fight. So if a student has more compassion to not see their peers harmed, these policymakers need to be held accountable. So I hope that Rinaiya's death is not in vain. I mean, to me, it is, because this policy never should have been implemented in the first place. But I hope that at least this sheds light on the need to be able, if you want to train teachers on the effective ways to break up fights and not just train security and administrators, I think that will be a better route. Because anybody with a heart should break up students when they're in a physical altercation. That's all I'm going to say about that. So parents, sorry for not having a really upbeat video today, but I think that this story really needs to be highlighted. Go to your schools, check out their policies, go to the Board of Ed meeting, bring it up so that this does not happen in your district, to your child, or anyone else's. All right, baby? Signing out. See you later, little pearls. Bye.